This is an instructional video that will help you access and use the Dove of Peace Lutheran Church podcast in the best and most effective manner. And there are a lot of ways to reach the podcast, but the best and easiest way is to go to our homepage. So just open up your web browser. This happens to be Mozilla Firefox, but a lot of people use Apple Safari. A lot of people use Google Chrome. A lot of people use Internet Explorer. You use the tool that you use when you're surfing the web. And you just type in the shortcut for our website, mydove.org. mydove.org. And that's a shortcut that'll take you to our website, whose real name is doveofpeacetucson.org, but that's long and takes a lot of letters and a lot of typing. So just go mydove.org and that'll get you where you want to be. This is the Dove of Peace Lutheran Church homepage. Used to be there was a big pretty picture here, but right now we're trying to make the podcast accessible to you in the easiest possible way, so there are no pretty pictures, and instead there's a podcast. What you'll find is the most current podcast, and all you have to do to listen to it is press the orange play button, and it'll stay right on this page, and you'll start to hear the podcast. Welcome to the Dove of Peace Worship Podcast for March 29th, 2020. Well, I don't know who that fella is, but he sure has a nice voice. I bet he's very, very handsome and intelligent person. You can press this orange. The fifth Sunday. You play, you pause with that same button. Stays right here on the homepage. You don't have to go to SoundCloud. You don't have to go to any other website or anything else. Now, the best way to participate in the worship service is to follow along with the order of service, with the bulletin, the program, the service folder, the worship aid. It's got a lot of names. So right beneath the podcast, you'll see this thing that says read the order of service. And when you click on that, presto, it opens up in a separate tab, a new tab, so that while the podcast is still playing, you can just start looking at this, and while the podcast is playing, you can just kind of scroll down and follow along. Of course, you could also print this document off if you have a printer. And this document, just like your bulletin on Sunday mornings, it includes things like the hymns. Hurrah! It includes things like the scriptures. It includes the prayers. It includes Kevin Seal's program notes. So just like when you're in church and you have this document that helps you get through the service and helps you stay connected, that's what we have here. That's really the best thing to do, is to go to the homepage, start listening to the audio by pressing the orange play button, and then just click on read the order of service and follow along. If you're really a super Lutheran, you might want to read the sermon text. You can just click on read the sermon text and you'll get the manuscript of the sermon, and you can test the pastor and see how well he does in reading his manuscript. Sometimes he deviates, so you never know what's going to happen. So those are your options. You got your homepage, you've got your podcast, you've got your order of service, and you've got your sermon, all there available to you to make your experience just more meaningful and more powerful. Now, there's one other thing. The homepage does show the current podcast, the most current podcast that's available. If you want to find the older ones, they're going to be accumulating elsewhere on the website. So right underneath the podcast, you'll see this phrase, this sentence, click here for older podcasts. So if you were just dying to get to hear the sermon from March 15th, you click there and you'll go back and you'll see the March 22nd and the March 15th podcasts, and pretty soon you'll see a whole bunch more, and you'll get the same as on the homepage. Press play on the orange button to listen. Click to get the order of service. Click to get the sermon manuscript. So I think that's the best way to enjoy the podcast and to follow along, is to use your web browser and go to our homepage. Like I said, there are some other ways to access it. We can tell you more about that. Certainly there's sometimes links in the emails. There's ways to just subscribe to a podcast on some service, but this seems to be the way that most of our members will be able to get the most out of it. So if you have any questions, you can email me or call the church. If you have any suggestions, please do the same. And may God bless you, and may God bless Dove of Peace Lutheran Church. Thanks for listening.